Hi, going to have a quick run through the 12 bar blues today. Very common chord progression, obviously for blues music, but very commonly used right throughout the 1950s for rock and roll music. And it was played with a slightly different feel. 12 bar blues for rock music was generally played with what we call a straight rock feel. The feel that we're going to work with today is called a swing or a shuffle feel. It's got this long, short, long, short. Okay. First thing I'm going to show you, and obviously all the tabs are going to be attached here. Okay, but this is mainly for you to recognize these particular structures and chord progressions and scales by ear. Once you can recognize them, then you can learn to mimic them and you can work things out and you can describe different styles of music. Okay, so the rhythm for the 12 bar blues using power chords. Move to the A chord, back to E. Probably the most common way of playing the 12 bar blues. Now I'm going to add to that another layer underneath, very important layer, known as our bass line. Obviously normally played on a bass guitar, but we can play this on an acoustic. Now if you were to look at this as a bass guitar, we're only looking at these four thickest strings, E, A, D, G. Okay, don't worry about those. Okay, so if all you've got's an acoustic guitar, you can work on your bass lines. Here we go, the bass progression for the 12 bar blues. It's called a walking bass line. Gonna move to A, back to E, and B, A, E, B. Okay. That progression, or that bass line with the rhythm part, they work beautifully together. Now the other part is the blues scale. Can be used to solo or improvise over the top. Okay, if I was to play it on one string, it would look like this. Now you don't often hear the blues scale played on that lower string, not for soloing purposes anyway. Might hear it for a riff, okay? You might hear this sort of a riff that's based on the blues scale. Or this one. Okay, common riffs are using those lower notes, but all based on the blues scale. What I'd like to do, so you can really hear it well above the rhythm and the bass line, is play the blues scale all the way up the top here, using these last three strings. I'll play that one more time. Okay, when you play this, you can use different rhythms. You might use a swing sort of a feel, that shuffle rhythm that we were using before. Or you might use triplets, groupings of three. Or you might combine the two. Okay, and feel free to muck around with that scale. You don't have to play every note. Obviously, you're going to see some tabs so that you can have a look at that scale and really work your way up and down. Get to know the scale so well that you don't have to think about where you're putting your fingers, okay, like I did, obviously, for a non-guitarist. But you really will free up your soloing and your creativity if you're not having to worry about, oh, does it go there, okay. So just let it happen freely, and the only way to do that is repetition. Up and down. Okay, easy one. You can work on that while you're watching the TV. Okay, now you're going to see a video with those three parts put together. A little bit of experimentation, just with my low skill level, but hopefully it'll give you insight into what the 12-bar blues is and how it can facilitate a solo. And the one element that you're not going to hear today is a vocal line. Okay, if you were to listen to 1950s rock, you're going to hear some highly repetitive vocal stuff, all based on the structure of blues and the 12-bar blues, which has been around for over a century now. Okay, but vocals can wait for another day. All right, just the three things today: rhythm, bass line, and improvising using the blues scale. All right, thank you. Okay, here we're going to hear the three layers we talked about. We're going to hear the rhythm, then I'm going to layer the bass line, then I'm going to play up and down that blues scale, and then I'm going to attempt to muck around a little bit with it and improvise. Okay, moderato tempo, that's like a medium type tempo sitting at 90 BPM. That's what we're going to work with today. After 4. 1, 2, 3.